Welcome to Agent Unstuck Calls, where we talk to real estate agents who are experiencing a challenge in their real estate career and they're looking for an alternative solution. Hi, I'm your host, Mike Cerrone with MastermindAgent.com, and I'm excited about this episode, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm looking forward to chatting with you today, and how can I help you? Please describe to us what your challenge is in your real estate practice.
One of my big challenges is follow-up. So I know I've missed a lot of business because I just forgot to call someone or, didn't call someone. I also hate to call people. I'm really good. Most of my business, some of it's repeat and referral. And then when I started, I wasn't really from this area. So I did a lot of open houses. Now, I would have had a lot more business from the open houses had I followed up better. But I did get business from the open houses, mostly people that were pretty ready to go.
Cool.
But I do really have a hard time calling people. I don't know why.
Well, let's, so it sounds like we're going to work on follow-up. And there's two components to that. One is the system side of it, and the other is the psychological side of it, right? Because I heard you say twice that you hate calling, and so that's going to limit you to what you're willing to do from the mental side. Agreed?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So let's come back to that and flip back over to the system side. Do you have a system set up that you're using for follow-up, some type of CRM?
Not really. I mean, I have emails going out to some people, but I'm not going in checking to see, I don't have a CRM set up where I'm getting notifications or what have you that you need to call this person, that sort of thing.
Okay. And what's your current system then? You said you have emails going out. Are you tracking this in paper format? Do you have a spiral notebook, or how are you keeping track of these people?
I mean, I technically do have a CRM. I signed up a year ago with Joe Stump, but I have not. I started it and then I have not been working the database. Right.
Okay, so that's another piece. So past client sphere of influence and whether you're working it properly.
Right.
And we can go down that track, but we just have a few minutes here. So let's stay focused on your follow-up question, and because this is interesting, the difference between the system and the psychology of going and improving your follow-up. So. If you had a system in place, what would it need to do to help you do your follow-up?
That's a really good question. I think for me, the scheduling aspect of it, I'm very, not to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm very ADD, so I have trouble getting started. If I'm really busy, then I'm in that mode. I come into the office and I'm much more likely to do that sort of thing. But if I'm not busy, then I'm psyching myself out and not functioning very well. Working with my clients and not working to prospect, which I know is the most important thing, but it doesn't seem to make me do it.
It's only important if you want new clients.
That's right. Which I do. But anyway.
Okay. So you gave me a little bit of information before we got on the call, and you mentioned in there that you do well with a deadline. Do you meet deadlines?
Yes, I do. Now it might be an exhausting process because I'm doing it at the last minute. But yes, and again, that's kind of how people with ADD tend to work. And I would love not to work that way. Find a way. It has to be, it has to be second nature almost. I have to get into a schedule of doing it, and it has to then stick. You know what I
Creating
mean?
a habit.
Creating a habit, yes.
Okay. How do you think you would go about creating a habit?
Well, doing it every day for a period of time until it became a habit.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they've done all kinds of studies on creating a habit. The common one is you do something for 21 days in a row, and then it starts to become a habit. Although they've also done other research that says some people it takes a little bit less time, some people it takes some more time. So you may not hit it at 21 days, but if you start to do something for 3 weeks in a row, you will pretty much get into that habit. And if you ignore it for 3 weeks in a row, it won't become a habit. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So do you do any type of time blocking currently where you schedule out your day?
Not my whole day, just, appointments in my calendar.
So you are doing time blocking with those appointments, right? For your showing appointments, listing appointments, showing up at a closing, right?
Of course.
Of course. And so that's time blocking. It's just that it's you have variety.
Right.
And that may be one of your challenges, is you may be fighting against this idea of doing the same thing every day.
Right.
Okay. And so you have to now play against that to say, yeah, but I want the results that I'm going to get. So I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z. In this case, maybe an hour of power. Have you heard that before, where you block out 1 hour a day to make, quote, prospecting calls or follow-up calls, or basically they're reach outs where you're reaching out to people and talking to them. And I recommend that you start using different wordage, and instead of calling it prospecting, call it conversations.
Okay.
I know that sounds silly, but it's a lot easier to get into a conversation with someone than it is to prospect them.
It is. It is.
And so I think that the other thing about that is it's usually best to do it early in the morning or early in the day before it gets away from you. If you were to do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, other things get in the way. You're in the middle of the showing, or whatever, life happens.
Plus, I don't have as much energy later in the day.
Yeah, and so if you start off early, when does your work day start?
Typically not until about 9 o'clock.
Okay, let's say 9 o'clock then. And you can move this around. You can have some flexibility, but the action needs to happen. You need to get it into a pattern, maybe from 9 to 10 each day. That's the time that you're going to get into some conversations with people. The other thing that'll help is to make it a game. You want to get into conversations with X people and make it easy. Get in conversation with 3 people a day.
Right.
That's 15 a week and 60 a month. It really starts to add up just talking to 3 people a day.
Right.
Okay. So that might help to schedule that in. The other thing then is, and so if you are you using, what type of scheduler are you using? Is it electronic or is it manual?
It's the Passion Planner.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not electronic. I don't know. I've often thought maybe I should do that, but right now it's just on paper.
It's on paper. It doesn't matter what the system is as long as you use it. I know a lot of incredibly successful agents doing a lot of business where it's all on paper. They don't do anything with the computer. They ask other people to do the computers, and they're going to stick with their paper, right? They'll show you 3-ring binders and everything. It's great. As long as you get the task done, it really doesn't matter what the system is, as long as it works for you. And you mentioned you have ADD. This may be the system that works best for you. You can see it, you can write it, you can feel it. If that's the case, just keep working that, and don't worry about what other people say.
Right.
Now I'm going to challenge you to pick a time that you want to make those calls each day, or those conversations, and pick a number and the time that it's going to happen each day. And again, start small. And here's what I want you to think about. You're building a muscle. You're building
Right,
up the
right.
strength of a muscle. In this case, the muscle of making those calls, those call outs, the reach outs, the getting in the conversation, the communication. You have a lot of different ways to do this today. You can make the old-fashioned dial on the phone. You can also do text messages. That would be a reach out. You could message somebody on Facebook. Any technology that you have that you're currently communicating with your friends or family, you can use the same thing if you have that connection on the other side with the people that you're trying to touch base with.
Right.
Okay. And don't think about it as you're trying to trick the person into doing something. That can be a psychological impediment. You don't think that way. You're trying to reach out to see what their challenge is and if you can help them.
Right.
As far as, I think that this might be a simple system for you to use for right now. You need to have a place where you're keeping all these people's names, though, so you know who to reach out to each day. Are you
Sure.
keeping that manually in a book, or where are the leads, these people that you've been talking to or you want to reach out to? Where are you keeping their names and contact information? Is it in your phone? Where is it?
Mostly in my phone. All over the place. I mean, I have a notebook. I try to write, if I'm talking to somebody, I try to write it in there. But then I have sheets from the open houses that I haven't, sometimes I follow up, sometimes I don't. So, I thought I should actually collect all those open house sheets and go through and maybe call some of those people, even if it's been a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's an easy callback, right? You just need a script or a way to start.
Right.
And by the way, after it starts, then you just flow with it. But you basically call up and say, hey, you came to an open house that I was hosting on 123 Elm Street a couple of weeks ago. They're not going to remember the address or anything, probably.
Right.
But on 123 Elm Street, and I was just calling back to see how you're doing. Were you able to find a home?
Right.
It's just a nice open-ended conversation. You just want to get the dialogue started and see where they're at. They're either going to be receptive or they're not. And if they are, you keep going.
Perfect. Yeah, I went through a divorce and a move, and I've been a little scattered over the last year and a half, but I spent like a month trying to go through looking at all these systems and CRMs, and I finally got so overwhelmed I just didn't get anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I was looking for something a little different. So anyway.
Does your company provide one? Or is there any one that you could access for free? Is where I'm going with that. Something that's already available?
No, okay. Our company doesn't. Those
are the easiest ones. It's something that's already there.
Of course. Yeah.
Do you use, are you on Android or are you on Apple?
I'm on Apple.
You're on Apple? Okay. So you might use your phone just to start. Just keep people in your Rolodex on your phone. And that's a great place to start just to get something going. Do you use Excel spreadsheets or any kind of, I don't know what kind of things you like to use to stay organized. Those are other things. But the bottom line, go ahead.
Consistency, I guess. Is that what you're saying? The bottom line is just have a place?
Have a place where it goes, where all the people go. Just one place. That's the reason for the CRM. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really just a place where everybody goes.
Yeah.
And then you can organize them with their name and you have their contact information, and then you'll have some kind of label to remind you that nobody else matters, to remind you who they are and where they're from. Like, this was an open house. Boom. This is my best friend. Boom. Whatever it is, you've got them labeled. And that's the other nice thing about a CRM. And then you can get more complicated, but it really doesn't have to be sophisticated as far as these giant funnels and long reply things. Just a place that you know where they are and you can contact them and make some notes to yourself. So next time you call them, you can say, oh yeah, I talked to Sally a week ago and and she was looking for a house on Elm Street, or she's thinking about she was waiting for a job promotion, or whatever this case may be, you can just take a note.
Right.
And all of those CRMs will be able to do that.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you an assignment. I like to give assignments at the end of these calls, and I have an assignment for you.
Okay.
My assignment is I want you to create a very simple system for your follow-up, and the simple system is this. First, you need to outline the time. So I want you to pick a time during the day, and I assume it'll be Monday through Friday, but a time during the day that you're going to make these reach outs and have these conversations. I recommend early in the day. You pick the time though, and then I want you to actually go into your planner and mark it out. And that way you won't set an appointment on top of it.
Right.
It's an appointment. It's just like a listing. It's just like a showing appointment. Okay. And so if anybody calls and says, let's say you pick 9 to 10. Someone says, hey, can you meet me at 9:30? You say, no, but I can meet you at 10:30. Will that work? Bingo. You just X'd out your time and you're going to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does.
So that's number one, is pick the time, the day, the specific day and time.
Okay.
Rephrase that. The time you're going to do it every day. Number two, mark it in your calendar. Number three, set up a goal for how many conversations you'd like to have during that time. You can make it as simple as one conversation.
Okay.
Okay. You could also change it and instead have the goal of X number of reach outs. So I'm going to make 3 reach outs a day. So that's where you're going to either call or text or send an email or whatever the mode of communication is. The things that you can control is the outbound action, right? You don't really know if they're going to respond to you. You do want to get into the conversations, but you can't control that. What you can control is how many times you reach out. So set a goal of the X number of reach outs per day.
Okay.
Okay. And the final part, I've given you a big assignment, I know, but you got a big project here. The final part, I think we're to 4. Number 4 is that I want you to figure out a simple way to keep all of your contacts in one place, whether that's in paper, in a notebook, in a 3-ring binder, if it's on your phone, if it's on a spreadsheet, if you do decide to get a CRM program, but one location where they all are.
Okay.
Okay. My question now is, when can you get these 4 pieces of the same assignment done?
Well, the first 3 I can get done immediately. And number 4, if I am diligent, I could have it done in a week.
Perfect. You get to pick the deadline. So pick a deadline with a date and a time.
Well, so I guess next Wednesday.
Okay.
And I can do the same time.
Perfect. So what time is it there for you? What you pick the time?
Well, it's what, 6:30? So say 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on next Wednesday. And
yes.
What day is that? That's the 23rd?
23rd.
Perfect. And did you write that in your calendar?
I'm writing it in there right now.
Fantastic. So you know your assignment, you know how the due date, and then the accountability is you're going to send me an email and telling me that you got it done.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And I don't know if you recognize what you've just done. If you get these things all done, you have now created a system for your follow-up. It's a simple system. Once you get in the habit of making this happen, then you can make it fancier if you want. You can change the location of the contact list. You can change the time that you make the calls. whatever it is, you're going to have a nice system that is now moldable and you can make it work for you.
Perfect.
Okay. Last part, read back the assignment to me because I gave you quite a bit. I want to make sure you have it all.
Okay. So I have calls written in, conversations for 1 week. But anyway, so
Great.
I'm going to pick a time every day. I'm going to mark it on my calendar, and then I'm going to reach out to 3 people, at least 3 people. I at first wrote 2 conversations, which would be a huge step up from what I'm doing now.
Sure, even one conversation would be awesome, wouldn't it?
It would. I did reach out this morning, and I did have a conversation, and I actually
Perfect.
had an appointment with a FSBO.
Excellent. That's great news.
But it was warmed up because I just sold the house next door, and he's been talking to him. So
good.
So, and then number 4 is find a simple way to keep all contacts in one place.
There you go. I love it. So this is good. I think you're on track now. I can't wait to hear what you do. One final part of that is schedule the first session of reach outs for tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't delay. Don't push it off.
I've already got it on my calendar. I have it on my calendar.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, you don't want to let too much time slip by.
I'll never do it.
You'll always come up with a reason.
I'll do it now. I'll do it now. Right.
Just remember, the more conversations you get into, the better your business is going to be. It's all about relationship building.
Right.
Cool. Well, I hope this has been helpful.
I think it has. I appreciate your time. And it's not that I don't know that I should do these things, but just kind of taking it and just setting the goals, and not worrying about everything else.
Absolutely. And everybody's in your boat. Everybody's in the same boat.
That's good to know. But I will do this. So
I know you will. And I think you're going to be excited with the results. And once you start to see the results, you're going to feel really good about it.
Well, I'm always much busier and happier when I have momentum building. And I'm sure this will help that.
Perfect. What a pleasure. It was a great time talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, that's it for Agent Unstuck calls. It was a lot of fun today. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want to hear more calls like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when the next episode is coming out. And if you have any thoughts about what you heard today and you'd like to relay that to everyone else, go ahead and put that down in the comment section so people can talk about it. And finally, if you're stuck in your real estate career, you're a veteran who's having some challenges and you can't figure out how to get to that next step, go ahead and schedule yourself an Unstuck call. Just go to agentunstuckcall.com. That's agentunstuckcall.com. And let's get you scheduled in. You'll go in there, you'll fill out a quick survey, you'll find a time that works for you, and we'll get on a call just like this and see if we can't get you some answers. All right, this has been a lot of fun. I'm your host, Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent. And again, thank you for joining us on Agent Unstuck Calls. Take care.